If you search Google for the perfect male physique, something interesting shows up. The same for men's health. This wasn't always the case. Now, let me close those tabs before I start getting strange looks again. But many are calling this phenomenon one of the biggest threats to the fitness industry. And this isn't coming from people that just want an excuse to be lazy.
Unhealthy relationship with food. I don't court a banana. I don't.
Nor is it coming from the give yourself a hug type people.
Yeah, there, Cookie Monster.
In fact, the people speaking out are heavily incentivized to shut up and smile. And most do. But the more you listen, the more you realize a harsh truth.
For an increasing number of men and boys, this otherwise benign desire to be more attractive transforms into something categorically disordered.
This is a systemic problem, too taboo for television, that the human brain isn't built to recognize, often until it's too late.
No, there's no short, secret recipe for it, you just have to...
Don't do this at home.
I don't ever want to be in that good a shape again.
It's not natural.
There's not many drug use or abuse issues where you get complimented so much.
They see it on the small screen on their phone, they see it on the big screen in Hollywood movies. It's in their hands when they're a f***ing toddler.
So yeah, I decided to start training.
Don't compare yourself to these people because they're probably lying to you anyway.
You need to pull your head out your ass and understand.
It takes its toll.
It's not right, is it? I know it's not right, but I can't say for sure that this is going to stop.
So, how did body dysmorphia become so widespread and deadly? But more importantly, why are more people not speaking about this? What is the perfect male physique? For me growing up, it was something like this. Health magazines suggest the same. Over time, this ideal has morphed towards something leaner and more muscular.
Trust me.
Hollywood films make this clear. Similarly, with reality TV shows, female dolls are criticised for becoming unrealistic, but male dolls are arguably even worse. 1960s 𝐔𝐽 looks like he's about to unveil the iPhone. 30 years later, he looks more like a bodybuilder. Early Luke Skywalker besides modern Skywalker. Batman besides modern Batman. You get the point. If we ask AI to show us the ideal male physique, a similar image is painted. There's a clear ideal becoming more and more extreme. So, what are we seeing here? These are the men of the would-be tribe, showing their slender bodies, white teeth and eyes in a beauty pageant to win the attention of the female judges. This is what the peak male looks like in the Bodai tribe, where the men compete to be the fattest. Ancient Greek statues depict a lean, muscular body as desirable, while traditional Japanese culture associates masculinity with self-discipline, loyalty, and honor. To identify the physical ideal, we need to understand what beauty is. The Oxford Dictionary defines it as the quality of being pleasing to the senses or to the mind. And looking across different cultures, the ideal seems to vary and change over time. Social media and the internet have erased cultural boundaries and created a highly competitive environment where only the most extreme stand out. This emphasis on leanness and muscularity isn't just a Western thing, it's gone global. We are witnessing the homogenization of the ideal male physique, what some refer to as hypermasculinity. Even society's ideal men seem to be getting stuff done to achieve this.
There's been a lot of talk about, red pill and self-improvement, creating your hyper-masculine character. Looking like you swallowed a shovel is probably not the answer.
The psychology that somehow would have led to this guy thinking he needs a jaw implant or something, I can't even fathom.
A self-improvement can absolutely go too far.
We aren't just talking Greek statue physiques. That was past long ago. From facial aesthetics to height and muscle definition, some of the methods men are using to achieve such ideals you might find disturbing. That smile you see is from a man who just had his bone shattered in a surgery to add 2 inches to his height. A painful procedure that more and more men are getting. Although Mukesh recorded the physical pain at a 9 out of 10, he stated it was less than the emotional pain he felt when people mocked him for his height.
We'll get rid of those love handles too.
Other men are getting abdominal implants, with some injecting oil into their muscles. Each year, over 2 million Americans have cosmetic surgery, a number that's rising, with many trying to achieve an instant boost in muscularity.
Total spent on my body modifications is $950,000 US.
Now, people can do as they please, but for many, one cycle or surgery is never enough. Bigorexia is a dysmorphia people have, where they never see themselves as muscular enough.
Really, I'm very curious as to why my waist is thicker than usual. Upper chest needs work. Why is my waist so thick? My arms just aren't big enough in comparison to my chest and my back.
Of course, this can lead them down a path of steroid abuse.
When I was 15, I did something crazy that changed my life forever.
And with the rise of steroid-like compounds readily available to buy on the internet, many teenagers are shutting down their hormones for a more muscular physique.
Do I take any supplements as a 15-year-old bodybuilder? Yes, let me show you what to take. I'm currently on 15 milligrams a day of Rag 140, so 25 milligrams a day of MK677.
You might argue these people are just morons. However, some of the methods used in Hollywood are also questionable.
I was eating so much chicken breast that the hardest part about it was actually chewing it all. So I would just put it into a blender, blend it all up, and just drink chicken.
In fact, to achieve his physique in Baywatch, Zac Efron was also taking powerful diuretics to dry himself out.
When I was done with that movie, I don't ever want to be in that good a shape again. Really.
I don't think it's surprising that many people struggle with disordered eating habits, like Freddie Flintoff, who developed bulimia.
I became known as a fat cricketer, really. That's when I started doing it. You put your fingers down your throat. As you gag, you bite into your hand so hard. The wrenching to get it out. It's not right, is it? I know it's not right, but I can't say for sure that this is going to stop.
If you can look past the airbrush marketing and Hollywood magic, eating and exercise disorders amongst celebrities are everywhere.
So if I'm gonna get a girlfriend, I gotta have a six-pack. And so I thought that if I didn't eat anything, well, I wouldn't get any fat. And then if I worked out a ton, I would get big and muscular.
Meanwhile, some of the biggest influencers are using Photoshop, Videoshop, and other deceptive practices to stand out on social media.
Here in the Western cultures, there has always been a tradition of muscularity, but in the last several decades, this emphasis on male muscularity seems to have accelerated.
No matter where you look, this can be seen. Yet, nobody wants to admit it. So, where could this change be coming from? And what could be driving it? Over time, the Hollywood portrayal of the ideal man seems to be getting more and more muscular.
So when I got to Orange is the New Black, for the first shirtless scene, I definitely did some unhealthy crash dieting. And being in TV long enough, I'll tell you this is something that almost all actors and actresses do for these shirtless scenes.
They often achieve their physiques through aggressive crash dieting at the expense of their physical health to meet Hollywood's demands.
It's a couple hours a day, and it was brutal. The tricky part was eating.
The same occurs in Bollywood.
So putting on the weight was fun. I could eat and drink whatever I wanted and have a great time. And I had a ball. I have to say I had a ball. But it was also most uncomfortable. Even my wrestling training was affected because I was carrying so much weight that I couldn't really move fast enough.
This was the silver era of bodybuilding. This is the gold era. And this is today, with many bodybuilders displaying bubble gut.
You're ripped, you're huge, you look fantastic. No stomach, no nothing, no problems.
Because people do not come to a show to see bellies. And if they want to do that, they go to maternity ward or something like that, and they can see plenty of stomachs there.
Columboism is a side effect of heavy steroid usage.
I'm not talking about my belly.
Probably don't need to tell you, a similar physical progression can be seen in reality TV.
Seriously? It's like you're photoshopped.
This is Jason Momoa, Aquaman. His physique, labelled as a dad bod. Same thing for an off-season bodybuilder, Chris Bumstead.
Can you rate this guy's physique for me, then?
10, can't see him. Oh.
Part of me wants to put these warped ideals down to improving knowledge, resources, and just a natural result of increased competition. But the rise of cosmetic drugs, technology to manipulate videos, and the super competitive social media environment where people only post their highlight reels, it can be difficult to separate social media from reality. But others have argued there's a darker side. You see, some people profit immensely off these warped ideals. An invisible hand. Sounds very tinfoil hat, but to understand this perspective, we need to go deeper, to the man who wrote the book on propaganda and shaped the world of marketing as we know it. 1920. Women didn't smoke. It was extremely taboo, a masculine thing to do.
There's a taboo by men that does not permit women to smoke, either in public or even at home.
Of course, the tobacco industry wasn't happy missing out on 50% of potential customers. Everything they tried to do to appeal to the female demographic failed. They simply wouldn't buy based on rational reasons presented. The stigma was too much to overcome. When along came the young marketer, Edward Bernays, he had a secret weapon. Knowledge passed down by his notable uncle, the father of psychoanalysis. Sigmund Freud believed that much of human decision-making was driven by unconscious and irrational impulses, often resulting in excess and overcompensation. Bernays decided to apply his uncle's theories to marketing. He didn't need to appeal to the individual woman and the rational benefits of smoking. He needed to completely reshape the cultural perception of smoking. So he hired a group of women at a big event, told them to all light up cigarettes, with photographers ready to take photos of them. These ladies weren't just lighting cigarettes, but torches of freedom, demonstrating their ability to assert their independence. He had staged a political protest to invoke the right emotions in the woman.
Next morning, there wasn't a newspaper in the United States, even the New York Times had a front page story, "Debutantes light torches of freedom to protest man's inhumanity to women by a taboo against smoking."
It worked. Bernays would go on to use trick after trick after trick in the marketing and political world. He wrote the book on propaganda and set the path of much of the advertising you see today, with companies hiring psychoanalysts to capitalize on this new approach to marketing, a shift from need to desire in a post-war America.
Modern man quite often tries to work off his frustrations by spending on self-gratification. Modern man is eternally ready to fill out his self-image by purchasing products which complement it.
And what better way to improve one's self-image than through your own body? Vogue magazine invented cellulite, a perfectly normal thing, turned into a condition. Marketers went hard, tapping into the insecurities of women, driving the massive growth of the beauty industry. Buy this to be good enough was an extremely powerful message.
Is it wrong to give people what they want by taking away their defenses?
But much like with cigarettes, marketers realized they're missing 50% of their potential customers. Only this time, it was the men. Much like with the creative marketing of lung cancer sticks, this is not always in your best interest. And after many iterations, these standards, what people want, has become more and more unrealistic. Advertising lives or dies by its commercial success, and insecurity sells. The human brain has evolved over millions of years and isn't built to deal with the rapid rise of the internet. Whether intentional or not, the display of unrealistic and deceptive ideals in the media exploits our cognitive biases, often to the detriment of both mental and physical health. It's why some of the most mainstream fitness advice is the least effective.
I don't know who still needs to hear this, but you do not target fat around your stomach with specific exercises. 8 million views.
Oh, let's ask the average person what they think. Let's stop asking the average person what they... Do you know how stupid the average person is?
This is known as the Dunning-Kruger effect, where people with low experience in an area tend to overestimate their ability or knowledge. Regardless of how smart you are, if you're part of the human species, you're susceptible to your cognitive biases being exploited.
Is he smart? No, he's a freaking good-looking dude, okay? And he's making extremely large amounts of money by saying stupid things that don't make any sense, but you look at him and you're like, holy crap, he looks amazing. I'm gonna do what he's doing.
This is the halo effect, where people who are considered attractive tend to be rated higher on other positive traits as well.
If you were to look at this podcast here
Is this some cheap shit, Joe?
No, that's the shit, bro. You see that curtain down the back?
Fats and meats and never eating carbs.
But the way that he's tried to mimic the guest position on Joe Rogan, you fucking piece of shit.
Social proof is another, where simply a large following can make a person more trustworthy. By presenting a certain body type or standard as the norm, marketers create a reference point that influences our perceptions of what is desirable. The anchoring effect. This, and an array of other blind spots, is what the media taps into. Often those people on social media, in magazines and on the big screen are just cogs in the machine. At the start, this was more blatant and easier to identify. Today, it's all around us, often with no escape. Don't get me wrong, I'm down for super effective marketing that helps people live healthier lives. But no other industry has such a high failure rate while being so profitable. I can't help but think back to the many people getting life-altering surgeries, developing eating disorders, and a lot of the negative side effects we haven't even discussed yet. Meanwhile, obesity and suicide rates are on the rise in America. And a recent poll found that 1 in 8 UK adults have suicidal thoughts related to body image. There's a very clear disconnect. In fact, a Harvard psychiatrist warned about this over 20 years ago. I don't think even he realized just how serious and widespread this would become. The many problems men have with their warped physical self-perception was grouped under an umbrella by Dr. Harrison Pope, the Adonis Complex. Adonis was half man, half god, according to Greek mythology. Visual perfection, the god of beauty and attraction. Dr. Pope has documented cases of men quitting prestigious jobs, people smashing their own faces with a hammer to qualify for plastic surgery, and others dying from disordered diet and exercise regimens. Although these are extreme examples, this was over 20 years ago, and we've seen many more cases since. Pope suspects unrealistic standards driven by the media is what's fueled the rise of the Adonis Complex.
Yes, I've done steroids.
But here's the catch. When beauty is so subjective, the ideals so extreme, the effects are fatal. Today's children are growing up with the internet as a constant presence in their lives, with little knowledge of a world without it. And the harmful effects of unrealistic body standards are evident through the growing list of casualties. I'm a 14-year-old and I'm thinking about taking 50 milligrams of Deca per week for 4 weeks. I know about the side effects on adults, but not in teens. Is there any side effects I should know? I'm a 16-year-old boy, currently undergoing cosmetic limb lengthening surgery. I don't think I know what's best for me yet, but I absolutely cannot see myself regretting this decision. Sometimes unorthodox and drastic solutions are the best ones. I'm 15 years old and recently found out about SARMs. My goal is to gain more muscle and get leaner. I'm 5'11" and 145 pounds currently. My main concern is whether or not I should take Ligandrol, considering my age. These are just a few people on public forums about to make life-altering decisions, with many going through with it.
So yeah, I decided to start training.
Whoa, dude. What did you just say?
We're witnessing extremely young kids take puberty-altering performance-enhancing drugs, with parents suspected to be giving it to their children as young as 6 for a chance to make it in Hollywood.
There's not many drug use or abuse issues where you get complimented so much.
And even people trying to do things more naturally are suffering.
I know I look like complete rubbish, right? When you train every single day for like 2 hours, do a load of steps, get like 4 hours sleep, you have no team to support you, and everything is being done just by you, it takes its toll.
In life, there is this feeling that we all live with inadequacy. There is this call to achieve and to go beyond all expectations, to outperform other people, to measure oneself against a panoply of influencers and gurus, to work ridiculously long hours.
Scott was one of the more wholesome fitness YouTubers, doing much of the things we see Hollywood boast about. Yet, it seems to have contributed to his early death.
But I've set it up, you're gonna think I'm gonna go up. Oh shit.
I remember seeing a 19-year-old die of a heart attack in the local paper. 4 different steroids were found in his system, with a suspected enlarged heart a contributing factor. Similarly to bodybuilder Dallas McCarver, who collapsed on stage, recovered, and and sadly passed away with a heart almost 3 times the size it should have been.
A lot of people are speculating how much testosterone was this guy actually injecting to get a 55,000 nanogram per deciliter total T.
There's tributes on YouTube for all of the bodybuilders who pass away. Each year, the age is getting lower.
Someone is literally going to have to die on stage before something changes in bodybuilding.
Maybe these are extreme cases, but if you actually listen to what the very celebrities many look up to are saying, a very different side gets presented.
It's hard to look like, even if you do work out, to be that kind of in shape is not natural.
The way they achieve their rapid transformations is often highly unsustainable.
For guys, that's unrealistic, I'm telling you.
Zac Efron actually went through a phase of depression and insomnia after his brutal drug-assisted crash Baywatch regimen. Channing Tatum, Luke Jackson, Ed Sheeran, Tyson Fury developed eating disorders and are warned about their unsustainable practices.
I started noticing it for the first time when I just started rebelling against a gym.
And these people have the top coaches and doctors at their side.
Truly, I don't know how people that work a 9 to 5 actually stay in shape because it's my full-time job and I can barely do it.
When studies are suggesting the majority of men are now displaying signs of body dysmorphic disorder, it's an issue that's hard to ignore. But because of a stigma, speaking about this, seeking help, or even thinking about it is seen as weak, with many willing to end their lives or pin themselves because help isn't as macho. And even those who look the best aren't immune to this, because everything is subjective.
I look like a normal, reasonable human being with like an acceptable amount of like muscle tone, right? But still in my head, there was like this crazy just distortion, body dysmorphia.
This doesn't mean you shouldn't find people in great shape motivating, just that even your favorite idols get older and struggle with these things. Yet, it doesn't get much coverage because it's not as glamorous. Resistance training and having high goals isn't inherently pathological. I have respect for anyone who achieves an impressive body transformation, especially if done honestly. However, unrealistic body standards can have deadly consequences, regardless of where you think this stems from. Many point to Hollywood actors, supplement companies, dolls and clothing companies. I get why some people want to see the fitness industry burn to the ground, but pitchforking individuals and stealing kids' Power Rangers probably isn't the answer.
It's just a doll. It's just a stupid little plastic doll.
Nor is polarizing people with men or women have it worse arguments. There is no them and us. The market decides what sticks, so mass awareness is a big part of the solution. You vote with your money and attention. This isn't necessarily better than this, nor is this than this, and definitely not this or this. It's up to you to discover what you really want, and not have others decide this for you. Dr. Pope suggests the following as potential outlets if you get caught up. Personally, I still go to the gym. While I'll never look crazy, it's been very satisfying to get closer to a goal that I had as a kid, especially considering I don't think it's an unhealthy obsession anymore. Ironically, with progress being the best, once I chilled out and focused on other things. I realized the hard way that looking good means nothing if you don't feel good. If you ever try to get in shape, please understand this. It's all I'm trying to get across to the video. I don't often ask, but sharing this video wherever you can would really help a lot. Self-improvement is supposed to enhance yourself as a person, not replace yourself. So, the perfect male physique, based on the evidence, it never existed. It's what you believe it is. I just hope trying to get there for you isn't as deadly as it's been for so many people. Hey everyone, so if you like this video, we're currently working on plenty more. So if you want to be notified when they're out, then please subscribe. This video was not anti-fitness. Unrealistic expectations, body dysmorphia, and disordered behaviours are massively overlooked hurdles when it comes to getting in shape, whatever this means for you. I personally know how frustrating it is trying to live the life of a hardcore bodybuilder while making the progress of a 10-year-old. One of the areas I struggled with the most was eating out and doing so with some degree of flexibility. So this is why I've put together a free guide to help you do so. It's something I really needed when I first started. It's how I, and many others, make more progress while eating the foods we actually enjoy. But more importantly, doing so without all the guilt a lot of these diet gimps leave you with. So if you're interested, I'll leave a link in the description. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.